Alright, hello grade 11s again. In this video I'm going to go through the question in functions. So I'm also going to show you what I think it's the best way to approach functions in an exam. Okay, so when you approach a question, or when you find a question in functions in an exam, first thing first, do not panic. A lot of students they panic in the exam because of functions, they are difficult, functions, they are this and that and this. No, relax. Remember what you learned. Remember what the teachers have been saying. Okay, you may not remember everything, but calm down. Just calm down. Functions are a little bit intimidating, yes, but calm down. So let's go through this question. Okay, so sketched below is the graph of f of x is equals to 3x plus b, the green graph, or and g of x is equals to minus 3x squared plus 9, which is the blue graph. Okay, so analyze the functions carefully and answer the questions below it. Okay, I deliberately let's go on. Okay, I don't know what's going on now. Alright, we're back. So I was saying I deliberately told you to analyze what's going on here. Why is this big? To analyze. So let me just quickly fix this. Let's just say use 5 points. No, that's too big. 2 points. Okay, that's awesome. Let's use 2 points throughout. 2 points. I apologize for this. This shouldn't happen. It will not happen again. Actually, 2 points. Okay. Good. So we're good to go. Just get rid of this. So we are good to go. Okay, so analyze the functions carefully and answer the questions below it. Okay, so let's look at this. When you analyze the functions, I want you to remember two things, if not 3, but let's go through them. Remember that the first function that you're given is actually a linear function. Okay, and then remember that this is a quadratic function. Now you know how to work with quadratics and linear functions. So right, let's analyze this function. The quadratic function is facing down because of the negative a, the negative 3. Okay, we're making progress. Now this function, this one, the green one, is increasing because the value of a, or the gradient, is positive. Okay, so now we're making progress. Okay, so I want you to remember, once you see a function, remember to analyze the domain. I don't know if you can see this, the domain. Now, what is the domain of the red function? The domain of, not the red function, the green function is x is an element of real numbers, and the range is just a moment, and the range is y is an element of all real numbers. Okay, now why do I say this? This is a linear function. Remember what I told you, a linear function always has a domain of x is an element of real numbers, and the range is x is an element of real numbers, y is an element of real numbers. Sorry about that. So I will actually practically demonstrate this to you, what is the domain and the range. But for now, since we're going to the exam, quickly grasp this, quickly have this. Okay, so now let's go to other function, the second function, this one. So I say to you that the domain of a parabola is x is an element of all real numbers, and the range of a parabola is actually y is an element of real numbers. Okay, sorry about that. I thought it's still in functions. Y is actually greater or equals to whatever the value of q is. In this case, our q is 9. But be careful here, because our parabola is facing downwards, right? So the maximum point will be this one, right? So if that's the maximum point, then the graph, when we go up, it never exists. The graph stops here. Here it does exist, but going up it never exists. Ne? So now, be clever here. Y should be less than or equals to q. Why? Because a is less than 0. I think in the recent document that I've sent you, I've demonstrated this. Okay, but let's continue. So we have analyzed the domain. Sorry, that should be read. We have analyzed the domain of the parabola and the range of the parabola, of which is this one, and also the range, the domain of the linear function f, and also its range. Okay, so I think you are ready to go. Another thing for you to analyze is this: the X-intercepts and also the Y-intercept, right? So for this one, we are not going to find the X-intercept because we have this b here and we do not know yet the value of b. But for this one, for us to find, let me see the function again. That is, let me use black. Okay, it's fine. That is g of x is equals to minus 3x squared plus 9. Okay, so let's go. So I told you that when you find the intercepts, X-intercepts, you let y, remember that this is y, you let y be 0, then you equate 3x squared plus 9. Okay, so this is going to be 3 square x squared is equals to positive 9. I just transposed. Okay, so I divide by 3, I divide by 3, I find x squared is the same as 9. Let me continue here. Okay, I find the square root of that, and the square root of that, that will be x is equals to plus minus square root of Oh, actually, sorry, I made a mistake. I'm sure you spotted that. This should be 3 because 9 divided by 3 is 3, so it's plus or minus the square root of 3. I advise you to leave it like this, but you can punch it in the calculator and find 1 point something or negative 1 point something. So that should be somewhere here and somewhere here. And now, interestingly, if we look at the value of b, oh sorry, we're still here. If we look at the value of q, it's actually the turning point. So you can actually write x is 0 and 9, the turning point. And now you find the y-intercept and you found the x-intercept. This will be positive 3, this will be negative square root of 3. Now you are good to go. You have just analyzed your function. Let me just write this. It's taking much space. So I've said that the domain is actually x is an element of real numbers, and the range is an element, y is an element of real numbers. This is f. Okay, so we have found the x-intercept and the y-intercept of g. Now look at the y-intercept here. It's -2. Now in most cases in the exam, they're not going to give you these points that you see.
Where is it?
So you're not going to see these points here that we have here, okay? But they're going to give you something like this. Maybe this is a, and then I don't know, maybe 0 and -2. They will actually give you the y-intercept or the x-intercept directly or indirectly. You just have to analyze the function, okay? So let me get rid of this. So as I was saying, interestingly, look at this here. The x-intercept, the y-intercept is -2. What do you think is the value of b? Remember that whatever is the value of b is, that is the y-intercept. So actually we found b, okay? So let's continue. Now write down the domain and the range of f. That's question 1.1. Now we actually did that. Well, here's the domain and range of f 1.1. okay? So you see, by first analyzing the question or the functions, you automatically solve or answer the questions without going through them. So here we just answered the question, okay? So I've added a hint. This is a linear function. Remember what I said about the domain and range of linear functions, that the domain and range of linear functions, the domain is always x as an element of real numbers, and the range is always x. Get rid of that. And the range is always I'm really sorry. Y is an element of real numbers. Okay. Now determine the value of b. As I've told you, we actually got the value of b, right? So if you've been following, b is actually -2. Okay. Determine the x-intercepts of g in blue. We have just solved the question. but look at this, we've just solved. Here are the x-intercepts. Now x is equals to O and x is equals to, but we must write them like this as points. It's square root of 3 and 0, and also let me write them here. X-intercepts, it's square root of 3 and 0 and minus square root of 3 and 0. Let's look back. Yes, those are okay. Let's continue. Okay, here's a hint. Let y be 0 and solve for x. You should get 2 x values. The reason you get 2 x values is because this is a parabola. A parabola has 2 roots, right? Of course, there are some parabolas that they will have 1 root. Now, but you will always get 2 values. There are some parabolas that really don't have a root, they just are above there. In this case, the equation has no roots. So I've deliberately added this. For which values of x is g of x is equals to f of x. Number one, they like to ask these questions. Number two, here you're going to practice equations as well. And number three, these questions have marks. Okay, so they are saying for which values, I like blue, for which values of x is g of x is equals to f of x. Now here I don't really want you to sweat a lot, right? Take whatever take whatever look at this let's work on a new page, right? So on a new page, our first equation was f of x is equals to 3x plus b. Remember, we did find the value of b. We said b was minus 2. Our second equation was g of x is equals to minus 3x squared plus 9. Double check with me. Just rewind the video, okay, to double check these equations. Now they're saying which values of x. They're saying which values of x is g of x is equals to f of x. Okay, now I was telling you that it's simple. Take whatever is g, and substitute here, and take whatever is f and substitute here. Okay, so in this case we're going to have something like this. Minus 3x squared plus 9 is the same as 3x minus 2. Okay, so I am going to take this 3 and transpose to this side, as well as this 9 and transpose to that side. Okay, I want you to follow along here because a lot of students make mistakes here in terms of transposing, and this is where they lose marks. Make no mistake, if you don't know how to transpose, do this. I'm going to say minus 3x squared, right? Then I'm going to add 3x squared, right? It's equals to 3x minus 2. Okay, 3x minus 2. Now here I've added 3x squared, right? I'm also going to do the same thing here. I'm balancing the equations, right? And then if I continue, plus 9, right? And then subtract 9. You see, no confusion with transposing. There was no confusion. You add on the other side. You add what you do. Actually, have this rule. What you do on the left, you also do on the right. So I have added 3x squared on the right. I've also did the same here on the left. Right, left. I don't know which is yours, guys, but you get my point. We ultimately find that this is going to cancel out this, and this is going to cancel out this. So what are we left with here? 0. Let's use black. We are left with 0 is equals to 3x squared, right? Minus 2. I'm rearranging here. Let me rearrange. I'm left with 3x squared plus 3x, right? Plus 9. Sorry, minus 9 minus 2. This is the same as 3x squared plus 3x minus 9 minus, okay, minus 9 minus 2 is the same as minus 11. Okay, so let's go up. So here I want you to look at this carefully. We're going to use x is equals to the quadratic formula. A lot of students lose marks in the quadratic formula, right? Because of substitution and because of negative sign. Okay, now x is equals to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared. Let me increase this, minus 4ac all over all over 2a. Another thing, students forget this line. Do not forget the division line, or else your equation makes no sense. Now, what is b? Remember that our standard equation for quadratic functions is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, sorry, is equal to 0. Now a is the one that has the squared, is this one. B is the one that has just x, and c is just a constant, it's alone, this one, and of course the 0 is here. So we are in the standard form. Okay, so let's continue. Look at how I substitute. Minus, what is the value of b inside the brackets? 3 plus or minus the square root of, in brackets, 3 squared minus 4 in brackets a in brackets c, right, all over 2 in brackets 3. Okay, so when you punch this in the calculator, you're going to end up with something like this. Let me do it. You're going to have x, you're going to have x is equals to 1.48 and x is equals to minus 2.48. So a lot of students forget to round off. Please round off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so did you answer the question? Oh, let's go. The question said 1.5. Which values of x is g of x is equals to f of x? Yes, we did answer the question. These are the values of something's wrong with my GPU. Okay, these are the of x, this IDV. Let's confirm that. Let's confirm that. It's actually somewhere here that they are equal. This one, this might be 1.48, and down here, somewhere down here, it's where they touch each other. Okay, so now for which values of x is g of x greater than or equals to f of x? Again, this one, we're going to work with it similarly. Something's really wrong here, bear with me. Okay, so remember that g of x is equals to minus 3x squared plus 9, and f of x is equals to 3x minus 2. So they are asking for which values of x is g of x greater than or equals to f of x. Okay, so again, plug the values here to end up with f of x being this, g of x being this. Now let's continue. What is g of x? G of x is minus 3x squared plus 9 greater than or equals to 3x minus 2. Okay, I hope I'm not confusing anyone so far. Right, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to do this. Minus 3x squared plus 9 is greater than 3x minus 2. I'm going to do what I did in the beginning, or in the top, and this is it, plus 3x squared. I'm doing so it should be minus because we want 0. We want 0. What's this? Should be minus 9. Okay, so this will cancel out this, as well as this will cancel out this. Oh, you see, I forgot. I've added 3x squared here. I must also add 3x squared. I've added 9. I must also add 9. So these are going to cancel, and then we're left with 0 is less than or equals to, I'm going to rearrange 3x squared. 3x squared plus 3x, right? And then 7 plus, 9 minus 2 is, you see the mistake that I did, minus, because it was a minus here, it will also be minus here. Okay, so but let's continue. Minus 2 minus 11 is, I think I'm tired. Minus 2 and minus 9 is going to give us minus 11. Okay, so we have an equation in its standard form, meaning the equation is in this form. It's in this form here. Okay, so you can also use the quadratic formula. You're also going to see that x is equals to the critical value is 1.48, or x is equals to minus 2.48. Now guys, listen to me. When you work with inequalities, right, when you work with what? Inequalities. Look at this equation. It's a parabola. Why do I say it's a parabola? We have an x squared here. Here's what I want you to do. Draw a line. Sorry about that. I want a steady line, a line that's very steady. Let's make this line black.